And we are live. What's up, everybody? It's Daniel Allison, the average dude, and the show must go on. The show must go on, Jenny Winny.
It must, Daniel. It must.
Welcome to Jenny Winny and the average dude. It's our weekly podcast, video cast,
broadcast. I mean, it's just your weekly feel-good hour.
That's right. Or maybe 30 minutes today.
Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever it is. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
So I said the show must go on. And the reason that I said that, Jenny, is because the guest that I wanted to talk to this week, sometimes these things happen, right? Something came up.
Something happened.
Something happened. And that's okay because we're gonna have that person. I'm gonna keep the guest secret. I think it's kind of fun to not let everybody know who the guests are. Believe it or not, we have people we're talking to.
We do. And there's somebody else that I've been, I thought, oh, this is the opportune time because, I don't know her schedule. And so, but I asked her at the last second. And so that's probably not the best time to ask somebody.
I know it. And
get her on the books too. So we've got guests lined up. We just
we got to come through. Well, what happens, Jenny, is I will schedule several. I might get 4 or 5 and we get them scheduled and then you go through. And if you've done this before, getting a guest lined up is not the easiest thing in the world. Getting your schedule right, finding the right person.
Getting us lined up isn't always that easy.
What's that?
I said getting us lined up isn't always that easy.
That's right. I've had probably one of my busier weeks of the year, certainly, this week. And so, hey, that's a good thing though, right? We've got things, you've got things to do. Love jumping on here. And hey, sometimes the show must go on.
It must.
So what I thought I would do, Jenny, is we can put a link here. If somebody wants to jump on with Jenny Winny and the average dude today, I would like to talk to some folks that are out there listening right now. I'm going to put the link into the comments.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Joe's out there. Joe, you may or may not be in a position to jump on and talk with us, but
weekly medicine for the soul. I like the way he says that.
Weekly medicine for the soul. Jenny, how has your week been?
Great.
Pretty
great. Tuesday night.
Yeah, tell me about that.
You as my guest. I'm just kidding. A Boutique went to the Best of the Best awards. Now, was it a little nerve-wracking? Maybe so.
Maybe a little nerve-wracking.
Don't always assume you're going to win. Which
yeah.
I don't. But we didn't win the category that we normally win, which kind of was like, oh, okay.
Now, what is the category you normally win for folks that are just tuning in? Yeah. You own A Boutique here in town. Yeah. Best of the Best is a local award show. They give out the best of the best, right, of the area in all these different categories. What categories were you nominated for?
I was nominated for Best Boutique, Best Gift Shop, which, I never understand how we get nominated for that, but we do. And Best Women's Clothing. Okay, great. Women's Clothing, yes, that's what we won. But usually we win Best Boutique because, we are a boutique.
Right. It just makes sense.
You know what? Hey, if someone else won, that means that they're doing well in Spartanburg. And that means that helps me.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay. And the big win for the night, was my brother, who it was kind of like I felt like we were doing Rudy, that movie.
Because that's one of my favorite movies, Rudy.
Oh my goodness. I almost started crying when they said Vic Bailey, Bolton James, the paint specialist. And I said, okay. I was like, please say the paint specialist. Please say, please. And it was like the paint specialist. And Roger's like, wow. Oh, I thought we were going to carry him up on stage.
I was happy for him.
I was happy too. I was so happy, but it was good. And we got to see, really, we're going to try to do our little, do a little live there maybe next year, now that we kind of getting to know
absolutely
the best of the best and Spartanburg's there.
I would love to do that, you know, and I thought about it. I kind of visualized what that would be like doing, you know, as you know, we've talked about it before. I would love to have a microphone in my hand, a camera, interview people, talk to people. I just think that's so much fun. They're in a, you know, and give a chance to give them some extra validation for just winning, talk about their business.
Because, you know, as soon as we get the award, you come off the stage, you go out, they put you in front of a thing, they're taking your picture, they give you the, you know, it'd be perfect that right after they take your picture, move on to Jenny, Winny, and the average dude.
Now, would that make you nervous? I thought about it okay, this is our first time live on location with all those people. There's what, 300 people in the room?
Oh, there's a bunch.
Right. So, you know, everybody's dressed to the nines. If that's a saying, what does that saying even mean? Dressed to the nines.
It means that you dress really good.
Everybody's dressed up. And so I think that it would be cool to be out there, but it would also be a little nerve wracking, wouldn't it?
It would be, but you know what? I have learned. I just don't get nervous, really. I do. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah,
I get nervous, but it's like being me now. I got to tell you what's funny is that Tuesday, I'm down at the boutique. I know that I'm doing my thing, working. I've got to be ready for this award show later. So I've got all my stuff with me. I got my hair curled up. UPS stops by. I'm like, you know what? He sees it all the time. So I open the door. I'm like, here it is. And he says, in all her glory.
In all her glory.
And he says, you know what I love? He said, you are just real.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
It is beautiful, just without the curlers.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were a little nervous that I was sitting next to you, so I have the inside scoop there. But you seemed a little nervous. But now you told me you were nervous, but I couldn't really see it outwardly. Is that
I was, you know what it is? I wasn't nervous like, oh man, we're going to lose. I was more nervous in the fact that the way people would look and say like, oh, don't feel sorry for me. I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
you don't win, you don't win. But it's like, you know, it's like, oh, poor little Jim.
Oh, you don't like to have that pity upon you.
Nope. Oh, Joe has to get off it. That's okay, Joe.
Hey, Joe, we might get off at noon too, depending on.
Yeah, we have to make an appearance. I mean, come on.
We've got to show up. I've read that too many times to not do it, right? You have to show up. If the guest cancels, that's okay. You get on here, you see what happens, right? You learn a little something. So that's what's fun about doing these. So again, I've put a link to the show in the comments. Would love to have you come on and just have a conversation. Now, Jenny, I was listening to, and I sent you the link, Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, I haven't got to listen yet.
Yeah, so he was on a new podcast, and I'm not recommending the podcast per se, but I love the way that they set things up. So no more of the if you'll notice the format, they don't have the earbuds on, they don't have the big microphone. It's set up more like a talk show.
Yeah.
So they'll have a little, wireless mic. They've got 3 or 4 people. They've got couches, very similar to what we have been talking about.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan comes out, sits down on the little stage, right? There's no audience, but and then they just have a conversation, a nice, relaxed conversation, and love the way that works. Not sure why you can't see the link.
I'll tell you why you can't, Joe. You know why? I was going back to call you my husband, Daniel, is because you can't, when you post a comment, if you're on.
Oh, got it.
You can't do it. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, because I'm a technology wizard, I'm going to send you
said no one ever.
Yeah, said no one ever. I'm going to send you a link, Joe, directly into your LinkedIn messaging to see because we'd love to talk to you. Joe's one of our dedicated listeners.
Yes.
So if Joe can jump on.
Hey, can I tell you about a little something that I did too that's pretty, I always like a good deal.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, tell me about that.
Okay. Well, here in Shelby, there's this little place that they buy like Overstocks and whatever, Nordstrom, blah. I mean, it's just a hole in the wall. Okay. But they do online auctions. And so I'm like looking, some of it's like, oh, here's a pair of Skechers. Yeah, no, not interested. But then there's a pair of sunglasses. And I'm like, $35 for that to be a bid. They must be name brand,
Right.
I wasn't aware of the name brand, but I got them for $35. I picked them up. Let me just say this.
Whoa. Look at that. Movie star.
Retails $380.
$380?
$380.
Wow.
And I paid $35.
Man.
Mm-hmm. Maggie said, "Oh, my daughter's like, are you gonna keep them?" And I said, "Nah, I probably won't keep them." She says, "Can I have them?" "Yeah, Maggie, I'm gonna give them to you. Here's a pair of $400 glasses, just because I love you."
I tell you what, we've got a guest down here.
Yeah.
We're 11 minutes in. I know that he doesn't have much time.
Yeah,
Let's bring Joe in.
Well,
and him. There's our friend Joe.
Oh, wait a minute. We can't hear. Let's see. Are you muted? Let's see, Joe. Are you got your mic off, maybe?
We can't hear you, Joe.
He said, "I don't know." Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Hello.
Joe, testing 1, 2, 3. Joe, can you hear us?
He can hear us.
Yeah.
And I saw him when he just muted and unmuted. I think it's probably down in your settings when you click on settings and then at the bottom and then click on audio. Make sure that your mic is part of connected to your.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can figure.
Well, Joe, it's going to be tough to have a conversation. It's going to be tough to have a conversation without your audio.
Well, we could try to pretend like we know what Joe's thinking.
Yeah.
And
let us know.
Yes, Joe, we are fabulous. Thank you for thinking that. I felt it. I hate it.
Well, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna take you off here and let you see if you can figure that out, Joe, and then we'll bring you back on. Give me a thumbs up if you find the mute button.
Well, he had it. You know what he did was he clicked mute because I saw it when he muted it. It muted.
Yeah. So whatever his external mic is not working.
Right. It's something in his It's not connected somehow. If it might have been because you're connected. If you have an external mic or an external camera. No, he said no. See, yeah. I can read lips. No, he said no.
Yeah. So the show must go on, even when you have technical difficulties. Yeah. Even when you've got one guest that cancels, your loyal supporter is on.
It's Joe. It's Joe. Yeah.
So, well, sorry, Joe.
I know. Wah. I know.
I'm gonna take Joe down there. I did want to talk to Joe about a couple of things. One of the things that I was going to talk to Joe about, because I know he would have some thoughts on this, is giving, what we don't see a lot these days. And this is what Joe Rogan was talking about. Mm-hmm. He said when he was around people that had a lot of talent, sometimes he would get intimidated and he wanted to stay away from people with talent.
Because it made him feel bad?
Because it made him feel bad, right?
Yeah.
And so the way that the conversation went, he said that he learned that giving validation to those people, stating what it is that's true about them.
Yep.
Is actually, and that's what he does on the podcast, right? He's able to call it like it is, acknowledge people's strengths. And we just don't see that in the world, do we?
Nope, we don't. And that's the truth. And you know what? That kind of, you remember I was telling you, I had a little quote I wanted to show you that it kind of goes along with that. It's something I'm guilty of. I think you're guilty of it. Just saying.
Probably.
But my son, he's almost 27. And he said, "Mom, I want to tell you something that the therapist said." And anyway, he says, "I think it'll resonate well with you. It's something we do when we do things out of guilt, feeling the obligation to do it." And I think that's true. I'm going to show you. Let's see here. Wait a minute. Okay, this one right here.
Okay.
This was actually on Antarctic Mike's page, and it just I had to save it. It says instead of hustle, which we're hustling, it says align. Destroy the idea that you have to be constantly working or grinding in order to be successful. Embrace the concept that rest, recovery, and reflection are essential parts of the progress toward a successful and ultimately happy life.
Yeah. So you always feel like you have to do something, right?
Always. Always. That downtime of rejuvenating makes me feel guilty. Same thing with him. It's like, oh, well, I could have been cleaning the house. Oh, well, I could have been, painting the house. I don't know, whatever. But, it's like you don't.
Well, we're hard on ourselves overall, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's like, and when we're hard on ourselves, we need us to feel good about us, right? And so anytime we start having that negative talk, I think they call it, then we're not headed in the right direction. We got to be our biggest cheerleader, right? Jenny Winny is a pleaser, says A Boutique. So
that's one of three people that could be possibly watching right now.
Yeah, Jenny Winny, you do like to do things for people, and I think that's a good thing until it's abused. Until you let it
abused. It's yes, and that's what I told my son, and he said, "Oh, Mom," he said, "I get this from you." He said, "This is what I say. This is what I always. If it's within my power to help somebody, then I feel like I should." And he said, "But sometimes it's to your own detriment, Mom. I mean, you can just because you can help them doesn't mean you should." You know what? Hey, let's bring Joe in, just see if his thing started working.
Bring him in.
I am. That's what I'm doing. No.
Joe, we're testing.
Testing 1, 2, 3. You know what you might want to do, Joe, is just go out and then come back in. Use the same link. Come back in. Okay?
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure who the LinkedIn user is, but they said a couple of things. They said, Daniel, you play better against talent. Maybe he's talking about me personally. I've seen it. I think that there is some truth to get. That's part of getting in the right room, right?
Absolutely. It makes you be a better person. It's not that you have to be against them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You play with, oh yeah, that actually might have helped Joe to go out and come back in. Let's see if it works. Joe? Ah, man, dude, so disappointing. I had so much I wanted to talk to you about.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Joe, on the bottom, if you actually click on the settings and click audio, you can test your mic. So it'll say mic.
Well, he did. He said he was good.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, well. It is what it is. That's
so Jenny, the user here, and I'm not going to make any guesses, but he says basketball. Basketball's a great example, right? You play with talented people. See you, Joe.
No, I think he said he's going to dial in on his phone, maybe.
Oh, okay, good. You play with talented people, and you have no choice but to get some better. Now, you might get your butt kicked, but if you're playing against talented people, then you're going to improve. If you stay in that same gym where you're, the best player or one of the better,
you're never going to get any better. It's like this. It's like if someone beats you who is legitimately good, that's what I'm saying. It's like if somebody was voted the best boutique in Spartanburg, that's good. You know what I'm saying? That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that helps us. This has got to be my mother, Joe, because it says love Joe's piano. She has a baby grand in her house too. Kind of looks like your background actually. Yeah, Mom, Joe, if that's you, which I'm thinking it is.
Now, Jenny, I want to talk about piano now that you brought piano up.
Okay. Didn't
you play a little piano like your mama?
Yeah, I still do.
Do you? Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you good at piano?
No.
No.
I mean, I'm decent.
Decent. Now, this is why I wanted to talk about this. This was another thing that Joe Rogan was talking about. Somebody was asking him a question. He was like, they said, are you good at pool? Like a pool shark. And he said, no, I'm not good. He said, now I'll beat you.
I'm better than you are.
I'm not good. And what he was talking about is there's different is we're frozen. Does that mean all of us are?
Well, I don't know. That came from my mom, which could
Okay.
mean that she's actually frozen. She just doesn't know.
Could be. But he was talking about, how we scale how good we are at something. Man, he's good at that. Well, compared to who? He's good at basketball. Compared to who?
Yeah.
Is that the gym class? Is that the entire school? Is that the upstate? Is that so it always depends on who we're comparing it to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people will say, "Oh, Daniel, you're not average." I'm thinking, I'll be lucky to be average in a lot of things, in most things, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So, I'm bringing him back. Let's see. Here we go again. One more time. I even tried muting him and unmuting him. Let's see.
Joe, do you know sign language by chance?
Yeah. Let's see. See if I can help him here.
Yeah.
No, it won't let me.
Well,
man, I can just feel you have something good to say, Joe. Yeah, look, I almost heard the yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know how to do a call in.
I know. Interesting. It's very, I mean, it's almost like there's something if we could do. Well, you could log in on your phone, just go to StreamYard. But I hate that we're frozen and I hate we can't hear Joe. Everything's going wrong.
It's all right.
Daniel, the show must go on.
The show must go on.
And Joe's got to go anyway.
And folks, sometimes when the show goes on, we say that it's all well and good, but sometimes things just don't go the way you want them to go.
They don't. No, they don't. I want to know what's going on. Why are you so busy this week?
A lot of little, I don't have a whole lot of paperwork, but a lot of little things, right? And paperwork and data entry and things like that. Now I can talk a mile a minute, as you know.
Yeah.
And I can do all those parts of the sales process. I enjoy doing it. What I don't enjoy doing is, like today, I had to do 4 separate quotes for one customer. And, it's different locations. It's a radio station. So it's different locations. It's like WLTE, WGTK. And I've got to keep track of all that, make the changes. All I'm doing is updating a Google Doc. But for me, that's sort of
the little minute details. You like to get out there and like, hey, and let's talk and interact, not the, behind the scenes stuff.
And the other thing, Jenny, is that having my eyes going back, right? So it's like going from computer, looking down here, you got to put on your glasses.
Uh-huh.
And it's to the point where a lot of times I can't see what I'm doing unless I do. So that's
man. Maybe it's time to get the eyes checked again, Daniel.
Yeah, but they say pretty much the same thing. So my regular vision, right? As you get older, the close-up vision fades away pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But for me, So
that's why mine are on my head, because now when I put these on, it makes up close blurry.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what I'm getting a message here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Joe, I don't know how that would work to give you a number. I just don't know how we could do that. So that's very unfortunate.
Especially a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jenny, what other images do you have?
Okay, well, you know what? I know you were all about the thinking and the thought provoking, and so I had a few like quotes.
Okay.
Just want to get your take on it. Okay.
I like it.
I'm not even gonna read it out. Like you can read them and then just tell me what you think.
Be so good they can't ignore you. I like that. Let's see. What's the first thing that comes to mind? I think what that says to me is focus on your own abilities, right? And don't worry about, kind of like what we were talking about others, the talent, skills, abilities of others. We can't allow those to intimidate. They just need to inspire us. Mm-hmm. And if we are maximizing ourselves, self-actualization, I think about it like a car. Everybody's, DNA is like a car and an engine. And in order to get the most out of it, that's the goal, right?
Yep.
So whatever you have, getting the most out of it. And I think if you do
and
that,
taking care of it.
Taking care of it. I mean, that's right. Helping that car run as most efficiently as possible, changing the oil, keeping air in the tires, washing it.
That's what I remember. Your brother, my cousin David, he had a Bonneville, and it had like hundreds of thousands of miles, but he said you took care of it. That's why it lasted. You know what I mean? It's like,
that's right. I forgot about that Bonneville.
I know. We all
old school
about it. Okay, so let's see here. I just got a message too. Oh, our sweet lady that I wanted to interview. She was like, "Oh, I would have. She missed the message."
Well, she can jump on right now if she wanted to, but
So let's go on. What about this? Or do you need me to read it because your eyes are bad?
I've got it. Oh, what questions did you want to ask, Daniel, before I go off? Let me answer this first, Joe. Sorry. A river cut. Yeah, there you go. No, we'll stick with Joe first.
Let's stick with Joe because Joe's got to go.
Yeah. I wanted to get his thoughts on this idea of, let's see, what I wrote down. We're so quick to criticize, but slow to validate. That was what I wrote down in my notes. We're quick to criticize, but slow to validate. And so I wanted to ask Joe and get Joe's thoughts on why it's important to acknowledge the strengths and talents of others, or is it important to acknowledge those strengths, talents of others? And thank you. If you've tuned in to today's show and you're still with us, believe me, we appreciate that, because next week will be much better.
And you know what? It's like she would jump on now. I know she would, but you know what? I'd rather get to have her and
have it full time. Yeah, we've had. This has been
hey, this is devotion.
The what?
This is devotion.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes you do that. And you know what it teaches me? It's like, hey, we need to put more time into the preparation. We get busy. This is a side thing we do. We enjoy doing it. Yeah. But what happens a lot of times is you get right up to time to go on and you haven't done as much preparation as you'd like to. So you learn from these things, right?
Yes. Yes. But I agree with that question you're asking, Joe, about the commendation,
Yeah. So if we believe love is to will the good of other, then we find joy in others succeeding. How many people really want others to succeed?
Not a lot.
That's it. And I have told myself when I'm in cheerleader mode, right? I mean, not to really masculize myself completely, demasculize, but if a cheerleader is going to always pull for others, always want others to win, and everybody needs this attention. I think there's just so many people. That's the one thing that I've learned from doing this podcast. Yep. Regardless of success level, folks don't get to talk about themselves enough. Nobody gives them attention or shows interest in what other people are doing, how they've succeeded. And as I've gotten older, I've learned that actually makes me feel so much better, right? Hey, this is the reality of the situation, acknowledging those strengths. And I just think that's a big deal too.
You know what, Joe, and you'll appreciate this. I know you will, because, and if you don't, I think you should. But it's like we were talking the other day, and it's just like the same type of thing, even with praying. People will pray nonstop, like, I need this, help me with this, do this. Oh, could you? But how often are they thankful for everything? I mean, it's like, it ain't like you didn't get anything. I mean, you're alive today, it's like, so it's like, it's real easy to find the fault and, this and that, but to praise somebody, it's like, I did that at the airport the other week. And the woman was just like, I said, you're just so nice. You're so nice to customers, and they're not nice. And she said, thanks. She said, everybody takes the time to tell me, when I've done something wrong, but nobody says it when I'm nice.
There you go. Yeah. And I did a little video on it this week as well. I went to the dentist. I don't enjoy going to the dentist, but this particular hygienist that I have now, she's really good at cleaning teeth. Right. And I said, well, how did you get it? How did you start doing this? And she said, I actually love cleaning. And what she was talking about is like cleaning her kids' ears out. She's a picker, right?
Oh, yeah. She likes that satisfaction.
She likes that satisfaction. And so she said her daughter was like 3 years old and already kind of, hey, will you get the Q-tip out? So she's making another one of her own. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, same as why do we want Jenny, Winny, and the Average Dudes podcast to win? Because it's small and authentic meeting of good people for the purpose of spreading goodwill. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's what me and you were talking about the other day. It's like, it doesn't matter the amount of success or the notoriety or whatever. Every person we've had on, everybody has got a story. They've got a story. And it's like, there's just so much to learn from people.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Well, and the way that I feel better about myself is to acknowledge the strengths, talents of others.
Yep.
I mean, if you're waiting around on that, people to notice you, you're going to be waiting a while, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the fake stuff. I'm talking about those when it might be completely obvious. Thanks, Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
I just think that it's important to lift up others when we see it, right?
Absolutely. It's, like if somebody looks pretty as a woman, you can say they look pretty. It doesn't mean that you're not pretty. And you know what I mean? That's how people are. They're like, well, I'm not going to tell them because I don't want them to feel better than I do.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that's a big part of having a good podcast too, right? You can get people on and have nice conversations.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so this has been a challenging episode, Jenny Winny.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not like, we're not going to win like an Emmy.
No, we're not going to win an Emmy for this particular episode.
Not this one. Yeah, we might. It could be really weird.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be cool if we did. They're like, they pulled it out of their butts. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna work hard to get some guests lined up.
Yes.
And I know Thursday of next week, I'm the Toastmaster of the day at Toastmasters. So it's going to be a big day. I'll do Toastmasters and then we'll come and do this as well. Do you have some more quotes there that you wanted to send me?
I did. I was just going to see what you said. I mean,
Let's see what we have.
A river cuts through rock not because of its power, because of its persistence.
Persistence. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a river just, it doesn't cut through it like a knife, but it eventually wears it down.
Absolutely. Well, I think about Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't chipping a lot of that block away. Every night he's chipping at that block, just a little bit at a time. And that's the way you do it. You keep going. And to kind of bring it back around to what we're doing here, it's very easy. Very easily we could have said today, you know what? We don't have a guest. We don't know exactly what we want to talk about. You can call it off, but we're here.
We're persistent.
You got to show up. And again, I think it's good to go through a little bit of pain so that you know how to improve. The temptation to quit will be the greatest just before you are about to succeed. Wow, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, let me think about that one for a second. Be the greatest just before you're about to see. And that's right. And what I tell myself oftentimes is, we define ourselves oftentimes in our own minds as who we've been in past, even in the last hour, say, but who we are in our mindset, it's always right now. And so that's why I have the little acronym, next best action. So regardless of what's been going on or, good things, bad things, what's the next best thing that I can do? And that helps me simplify what it is I need to do and let go of all that mind junk that just sits there and spins around.
It's self-sabotage. When I read that quote, I think of self-sabotage. It's like, you're gonna ruin it right before you succeed. It's almost like you're scared, not you, but people are scared of success,
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I think there's probably some of that within me. I think it's within all of us to a certain degree,
because I voted for the other store just because I was scared of winning.
Did you really? Oh, wow. No.
I did.
You had me believing that.
I know. I was like, man, that sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's it. I mean, honestly, we got my girl she had texted me back. And so we'll probably have her on next week. So we're going to have a great week next week. We've got.
You can line that up. Go ahead and line that up. I'm talking to a couple of people too, but let's get some names. Get some names on the podcast. Lock them in. And I am not faulting the guest. By the way, if you're listening, I know it was a quick turnaround. Things happen, right? Things happen. And so we'll make that work in the future. But hey, if you're here, thanks for tuning in. If you're wondering what's going on, watch an older episode. I'm not, I think you'll get a better idea. And then tune in next week. Right, Jenny?
Oh, yeah. We're ready. We'll be ready.
All right. Well, Jenny, have a great week, everybody. See you next week. Let's roll.